Yes, now, and welcome back to episode 104 of the Top Loaded Podcast. And yet again, it's another great week. There's been card shows last week, there's card shows this week, but most importantly, H, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Ron. Very well. Not doing too badly. How are you, my friend? All good?
Yeah, very good. It's that time of year again. Obviously, we had London a few weeks ago. It was the much successful Dublin car show, which sadly neither of us could attend this one. But say massive congratulations to the guys over at Soccer Cards United and their team because it did look like an absolute treat. No doubt, I think H that's going to be on our 2025 calendar. That one, if we can get to it.
Definitely 100%. It did look a very, very good show. So, yeah, as you said, shout out to the boys at Soccer Card United. Put on a fantastic show. So, yeah, definitely one on our bucket list for next year.
Yeah, and before we talk about our main talking points of today's episode, yeah, again, obviously, a massive thanks to the guys over at Third Down Displays who are obviously powering up this episode of the Top Loaded Podcast. Obviously, if you need any hobby needs at all, from custom stands to card supplies to grade preparation kits to bat balls to mats, they've got you covered. If you head over and use the code TTP10 at checkout, that will get you 10% off everything as well. But most importantly, I think we've got to say a massive happy birthday to the one and only Chris from Third Down Displays. Obviously, he's getting another shout out. He's gonna love this one, but it's a big birthday as well for him. So happy birthday to him as well. I think he should have got himself like a custom stand or something. That surely had to be done, right?
I mean, it would have fitted into the picture. I think, a 30th card stand would have been ideal, but not sure whether Ben got round to it or not. But there we go.
But no, like we say, a massive thanks to the guys yet again who are not just helping us in the same, but helping you out as well, which is obviously the best thing. So, talking about the actual hobby and everything, thoughts on Prism now we've seen it a bit more materialize?
My opinion hasn't changed. I think it's just gotten better. I think now we've seen a lot more of the cards servicing on eBay, a lot of them around on Instagram. I think they just look absolutely incredible. Panini have absolutely smashed it. Looks like a brilliant set. It really has ticked all the boxes in my opinion. They've absolutely killed it with a lot of the card designs, a lot of the inserts. It just looks absolutely amazing. And it's probably the first time in a little while that I've actually felt an urge to enter into a break, because I think Prism is been that good this year. So yeah, it can only get better as well. I think the more cards we see on Instagram, on eBay, the more card prices start to settle a bit more. The more that I think I'll be more inclined to start trying to pick up. So, I mean, yeah, Prism is just top tier.
I think we've got a preface. Obviously, I've got a certain individual on in the background. Obviously, the one and only GBW from Dub Breaks. Obviously, H has got here as well. We have been participating in some breaks here and there. Even though to H's discussed that I took a certain Martinelli spot in this free boxer, which will be coming up later. We're hoping that it does break live during the podcast. There's a new feature that we might start doing of if we're in breaks or other things, bring that to you as it happens. So um, going on, obviously, I've entered quite a few, like three or four. Entered the first off the line case, which was very rewarding for myself. But
Don't say.
yeah, you could say that. Choice is now out as well, which is obviously a smaller format. It's just one pack per box, 8 cards. But at the price point of around 120 to 140 pound on the resale value. Choice is always one of them. Obviously, brings into play some of the animal prints as well as one of ones to fives, tens, 15s. We've seen first off the line, we've seen hobby. Obviously, choice now is only just about arriving in the UK. It's not really here yet. A lot of it's been broke in China so far. But yeah, again, it looks fantastic. And then red, white, blue choice parallel, very nice. Yeah, again, and it's going to be ones to chase again in it.
Yeah, of course. I think the tiger prisms particularly are always very popular from choice. I think the animal design, the zoo designs, if you like, snake skin, zebra, elephant, obviously, is another big one. So, yeah, I think, choice is always a cheaper alternative to also entering into a prism break. Like I said, obviously, tiger prisms for me are always a bigger one from choice. I think that the designs, the print is brilliant. So, yeah, I think choice is, like I said, a cheaper alternative, obviously, in terms of entering a prism break. So, until that sort of tend to surface a bit more. Obviously, you've still got the lower number, you've still got the one of ones to fives, etc., etc. So yeah, I think it will be another good set. I don't see why it'd be any different. We'll see. a slimmer chance, a slimmer variety of cards, obviously in choice in comparison. But yeah, like I said, it's a cheaper way of obviously entering into Prism and still just as good a product.
Yeah, it's like perfect segue that for what I actually was going to say next. And there is another format of Premier League Prism that has started emerging in the States this time, which is obviously the retail blasters. Obviously, I think they are retailing at Target slash Walmart for around the $25 area. But this year have an incredible one of one design, which is the Black Finite. So obviously it brings another factor into not just buying hobby, choice, breakaway, but now having a Black Finite. Obviously, we haven't seen any of them hit yet, but obviously the odds of hitting in retail is always very, very high as is. But do you think now that more people might be inclined to grab a blaster that they've got these one of ones? And the thing is to remember, and I always say this to people, is there's at least 300 one of ones, and that if that is just purely the base set, take into inserts and you take into autos, you're looking at 750 one of ones. So the print run is mental on retail, but it's good to see that there's these added bonuses and other things to chase, like the Sublime, who are returning again for the second time of the retail ones. Otherwise, retail always, I always found it with like Don Ross, something like that. It was something you kind of just pick up for picking up sake, but having its own designated cards like case hits slash one of ones, it's always an added bonus to the collector.
Yeah, of course. We know how popular blasters have been, particularly in the UK for women's chrome, for Stadium Club chrome, for we saw how popular they are. So I think to bring that into now Prism, which is one of the biggest products, obviously that the soccer, football has, to bring that into blasters where you said it's got its own set with its own particular one of ones. I think it adds that additional aspect of okay, time to buy a case of blasters and break a load of blasters, and people have more of a chance of hitting that Black Finite. So yeah, I think we're probably a bit too early to see Prism blasters, obviously in the UK. Something that I think everyone would love to see. I think everyone would love to get their hands on. Obviously, whenever that time comes for blasters, particularly for Prism to come over to the UK. But I do think it also adds another aspect, another spin, another sort of outlet obviously into Prism, and at that sort of price you can't really argue against it. If you're picking up a blaster for $25, I mean, what have you got to lose almost? You hit a one of one and you're laughing, you hit a low numbered card, you're laughing. So yeah, I do think it's a really cool another aspect. And hopefully, we potentially may see them in the next few years to come over in the UK like we have done with some Topps products. So yeah, I do think the blasters are a great idea, a cheaper alternative, and something that you can't really go wrong with.
No, I have to agree with you there. Like I say, it's one of them that, especially, I think they're perfect when you're at a show or something like that. You're like, oh, let me rip something. Normally a cheaper alternative, normally in the 25 to 35 pound region. Obviously, you're not with anything. You're not expecting to hit. You're just like, oh well, I'll just pick one up, see what I like, rip a bit. It's obviously a lot cheaper to rip a blaster than it is to rip the actual hobby boxes itself. So always good fun. And obviously, like we say, you can never guarantee hitting or not hitting. Like you're near enough always not going to hit when you open a break. However, as we always say here at Tottenham, we like to bring you the good and the bad of breaks. And it's a perfect example I've got here. I've entered. I would say this is for market research, but it weren't really. It was just because I wanted to enter breaks. So entered five different breaks. The first result I had Arsenal. I had Havertz, Declan Rice, and Trossard, or something like that in the first one. This was the results. Oh wait, nothing. Base don't chip. I didn't get anything but base. So first example, absolutely nothing to show from it apart from an SPFL Chrome card that they sent, which is sitting lovely in a cardboard box. Moving on to the next one, and I've merged the next couple together. I had Arsenal others in it was a case and then also one boxer. And I did manage to get a few top loaded cards, which is nice. So just to run them through it. But then again, for the price I paid, make up your mind, these are not high end hits. All right, Prism are doing all right price at the moment, but it's Mojo, Ben White. So it's probably a couple of quid, if that. Havertz, Mojo, again, exactly the same. Ben White, Prism. Eddie and Kay are red, which is nice, obviously numbered to 199. David Raya numbered to 299. Purple non-numbered Declan Rice. Zinchenko blue to 299. Then we've got a silver of Timber, and then a red of Timber. So obviously H there, you can tell that even if you do hit with some of these prices, you're not guaranteed making money, are you, really? So that's the one thing to always stress of there is always that low side of breaking, and you're going to do that more than what you can potentially hit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think it's always the risk when you do into a break is you could walk away with a £600-700 card from a £20 spot, but you could also walk away with £5 worth of cards from a £20 spot. So it really is just the gamble, I guess, if you like, entering into a break as to whether you do walk away with your money's worth or whether you've made more than you could ever dream of, or you could, you lose money in a break. And that's the whole aspect around breaking, is that nothing's guaranteed. Obviously, I'm sure you're about to show the flip side of that. When you enter a break, you could easily make your money's worth back and more. But I guess one of those things, you're into enough breaks, you're bound to get the good and the bad together. You're into one break on the one off, you can't really argue if you don't hit. So yeah, I think it's always wise to think about it before you do it. I've always said I'm always one to buy them in the market rather than into a break and hope. But I think for Prism this year, I've just thought, what, I want to enter into something just because the Prism has been that good. But like I said, I'm sure you're about to show now. Obviously, when you enter a break and you hit gold, you certainly hit gold.
Yeah, like I say, very fortunate. I did enter a case breaker first off the line. Yeah, again, had three players. I had Gabriel, Kai Havertz. That's the only two I was going to take. And sometimes they always say that last spot that's simmering is normally the one that's going to hit. And I said the last Arsenal spot left was Declan Rice. And I thought, I'll give that a go. First year of Declan Rice in Arsenal, especially in Prism. And very fortunate enough to hit the blue shell. I'll actually remove it from the semi-rich because sometimes these do not give it justice, the card. So here, a blue shimmer, number 28, flashback, Declan Rice, 8 of 8 as well. So like you say, that's the upside of breaking. Are you going to hit that every time? Most definitely not. Am I very fortunate? Yes. Like you say, that has recovered and a bit more the loss of that break. So perfect. But it's one of them, as we do stress all the time here at Top Load Podcast, when you're going into the break, you've got to see it of the mindset of whatever I'm spending on that break, that's how much I've lost out on. And anything you do recover is just a bonus.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the way you've got to look at it. Same way you put an acca on a Saturday morning. If you put in a tenner on, sixfold, whatever, you've got to be prepared to essentially lose that tenner unless it's almost a guaranteed easy return. Same with breaking, you never know. Breaking is the one thing you can never gamble on. With football, you can probably get a fairly good example if Arsenal are going to beat whoever, or whatever that may be. But with breaking, you literally don't have a single clue. So it's always just wise to keep it in mind. When you are entering a break, just don't expect the world, don't expect a massive return. Most people that enter into breaks and hit big, you will see it plastered over Instagram because they've hit something big. But do people plaster about when they don't hit anything? No. So just bearing in mind that you only see people's wins, you don't necessarily see their losses. So yeah, just bear that in mind when you enter a break. Obviously, that you're not guaranteed anything. Obviously, as a return. Obviously, if you hit big, your quid's in. If you don't, obviously, then you knew from the get go that obviously it's not always a guarantee. That's not me saying don't break. That's not me saying don't enter a break. That's not me saying steer clear from it. Just be aware of it effectively.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfectly put. And like we say, we enter breaks here and there. It's fun at the end of the day, but obviously remember, whatever it is, it's still money you're playing with. So just keep that in mind. If you're having fun and you have the means to do it, go and have some fun. But like we say, it's not all just about breaking and everything like that. Even though, I will show another card later, I got into a break. But just a quick recap of the hobby and different news. Just fire around it. Obviously, big news for everyone who's a Messi fan. MLS Finest is out this week and has been hit now. Messi on-card autos are live in the set, not redemption this time. They are on-card, and more importantly, there has been ones that emerged already, which are green to 99. So remember, there's a high print run on these Messi cards, but they will take up most of the price of the finest, which is great for us who collect other players. But keep that in mind. But do have a look out for MLS Finest. Looks fantastic. Big cards to be here. On-card autos and Messi. Next one, the NBA world is going mad. Obviously, NBA Prism is out as well. It's come out literally a week after Premier League Prism. Wembenyama rookies. We anticipated this. Obviously, it didn't take a mythic person to work. It was going to go crazy. But the prices have gone insane. I see last night to 60. Yep, that's to 60. 60 sell for $8,200. 8.2 thousand to
And
60.
the one-on-one has been pulled.
Yeah.
So imagine what that's going to be going for.
To 60, 8.2K. Right. So let's think about this. There's 59 others of them. It's mental. Obviously, the Black Shimmer has been pulled. It's listed up for like.
Surely there's not a long-term gain on that.
The only
Surely
thing
to
is
60 for
yeah,
£8,000. You're
the
not going to
only
make a
thing is
return on that, surely.
for context, people who don't like the NBA, how it
Yeah,
works with
like
the
me.
draft system. He's so good at the moment, and when he was coming through in France, that he could be generational. He could be one of the greatest of all time. So people are gambling on that already. And
Yeah.
in his first 6-7 months in the league, has been absolutely unbelievable. I watched him the other night against my Los Angeles Lakers, and you think he's been in the league for 11 years. He's that good already. So fair play anyone who hits him, because the base cards are going for about 200 quid, 150 quid, 200 quid. The refractors are going for $500. So you can imagine in America, blasters, hobbies, the lot going mental. Hobby boxes are doing about 2K at the moment. So fair play to anyone then. But that's enough for the NBA world. Actually, one last thing, because people might not have heard this story, and it's a great story. So someone was buying into a break, entered the filler for $20, got the Los Angeles Lakers, hit the Black Shimmer LeBron James 1 of 1. So that's to say, upside of entering a filler. So if you haven't
Blimey.
heard about that one, there's a video of that out on Twitter if you go and look at it. Like I say, it's quite intriguing. The different few bits here and there what are happening around the world in the hobby, and we'll try and bring you some more ones of them. And then my final question for you, H, obviously when we're looking at these new sets, your thoughts now that you've seen a bit more on F1 Chrome, because when we recorded the last one, it was very fresh. There was only little bits of it emerging. How are you finding F1 Chrome? Like, enjoying the look of it? Are you going to pick anything up, or is it one of them that maybe the hype was a bit more than the actual card set?
Yeah, I mean, I still stand by what I said in terms of also, I do think it's the best F1 Chrome release since 2020. Am I going to rush to pick anything up? Probably not. I did see a George Russell to 5 auto pulled on Instagram today, and it does look clean. Not seeing much Steiner. Haven't seen a whole lot of Gasly. I still would like to pick up a Gasly auto at some point. Whether that be from 2020, whether that be from 21, 22, 23, whatever. I wouldn't mind picking up a Gasly auto at some point, or maybe a Norris auto. I'm talking gibberish here. I don't know. I've never played a Norris in my life.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
think no one would turn down a Russell or Norris auto, though.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I think it's one of them things. I think Russell autos, particularly in 21 and 22, have dropped. They're not particularly through the roof. So something that I could possibly look at: Russell, Norris, Gasly, Steiner. But like I said, yeah, it's still just as good as I thought it was when we spoke about it last week. I do think obviously there's still a lot of potential for it. Like I said, probably the best release since 2020. Nothing astronomical. So yeah, I won't be looking to enter any breaks on it, but obviously possibly looking in the aftermarket at some point in the future. But yeah, I still think it's a nice release. Still think it's the best one since 2020. But like I said, how long that'll last for, I don't know. But yeah, it looks good so far from what I've seen.
Yeah, like I say, it does look very good. Some really nice cards in it. So obviously, the F1 season is kicking off this week. Obviously, practice in Bahrain starts this Thursday. Race day is
For
Saturday.
Verstappen to win 24 races.
Yeah, well, I'd be happy with that one. Actually, no, Lando can have one. There's no Kimi now, so no
Yeah,
Kimi, so the legend's not there, and there's no Gunther as well. So realistically, all the characters are leaving F1. You know what I mean? Like our heroes are gone, so whatever has to happen can happen now.
stop
But
the timer.
like I say, it shall be interesting to see what that does with the F1 prices, obviously going forward, especially with this year's Chrome. Obviously, how they do it, for people who don't know, there's race drivers of the day / race winners, and because Mac's done that near enough every race, so he's got a lot of cards in the set. But like I say, it's going to be quite a nice one. Actually, you know what? Funny one. Pickups. Has there been pickups? I've got half your pickups, what you've actually picked up recently, which you will be getting this week, which we'll show you
Yeah.
next week. However, I actually did have another break result come through the post today, which was perfect timing. I was hoping on one more parcel, but it's at Heathrow Airport at the moment. So hopefully I should have it in hand for next episode, which is absolutely beautiful cards. But I did enter a Don Russ Balasta Women's World Cup case on Whatnot. Hit 3 cards, but these are the 2 main ones for the PC. For people watching, obviously, this is a Caitlin Fulton 99 blue. And then the main one of the break. For people who are not watching, star status Katie McCabe, 23 of 23, which anyone knows me, that is straight in the PC and it's not leaving. So obviously, H, I know you've been delving into the women's world a lot. I've got a few of your cards here. How are you finding it? Like, obviously, when you like now that you're getting into it a bit more, knowing a lot more of the card, how different do you find the women's side to the men's side? Because obviously, it's such a niche market and less set. So, are you enjoying the getting to know the sets? Because once you know the main sets, it don't take too long to actually work them all out.
Yeah, exactly. I think, it's still a very niche market and it's still a very small market to some degree. I do also think that, the whole Chrome aspect, you good, Ron?
Yeah, my camera is literally just about die. Lovely.
Okay, cool. But yes, I said like so, women's Chrome obviously is still very niche.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think once you whittle down the actual products and what's sets are in which, it does make it a lot easier to navigate around.
Yeah.
Typically again, we support one of probably the most expensive teams in women's, particularly with the likes of Russo, Williamson, Mead, Miedemar, etc. Black Sinius to add to that. So yeah, I don't think it's much cheaper going to women's from men's for Arsenal, unfortunately. But it's definitely a lot of fun, a lot more exciting. Picking up a fair few women's cards. Did for some reason one evening thought it'd be a good idea to start doing the to 50 from women's Chrome, the gold refractors to 50 for the Arsenal set. Got as far as Miedemar and a PSA 10, and I've not got any more since. So yeah, I might try to do that every now and again. Pick up a women's to 50. I think I've seen like a Mead. I've seen a I always forget what her name was.
Yeah.
Hertling, I think it is Hertling.
Hurtig.
Hurtig, that's the one. I sound like an absolute amateur right now. But yeah, so you say I've found obviously a couple of them here and there, but yeah, it's really good. It's a lot of fun. Particularly like the dual autos, obviously of Black Seniors and Medium are. Obviously, Max has got the I think it's the orange to 25. I think it is. Obviously of the dual auto. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Women's Chrome is a lot of fun. A lot smaller, so it's easier to navigate around. But instead, I managed to pick up a men's card recently on eBay. A good US overnight eBay W. Finished at 4:30 in the morning. Put a max bid and we'll throw into bed. I woke up and managed to actually win. It's in US. I've just got the PSA scan, but obviously Ben White's snakeskin prism from the last year's prism. Now I've seen a PSA 9. So I was very very happy when I woke up in the morning and saw that I'd won that. So yeah, that's my my one pickup from last week. And as you said, Ronnie does have the rest of my pickups. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's quite fun. I do feel like I act like Royal Mail quite a bit of picking cards up at shows and other places for you. But like I say, I've got to say, like we always say, like different feelings within the hobby that are just like rewarding. How nice is it when you wake up to a little fireworks emoji of you won it, but then it's that apprehension and the nervousness of low pressing on it to see how much you actually won it for. Because for us, most of the time when an American auction finishes, we're in bed. So we don't know if we've won it or not until we wake up. But it is a great feeling. But then on the reverse, how frustrating is it when you miss out by like 1 cent or $1? That's a killer. But you won it, firework emoji at the beginning of it. That's a good feeling, ain't it?
I mean, that Ben White was beautiful. I mean, I went to bed and put a max bid on of $120, and I was like, yeah, if it goes for around that, not bothered, quite happy. Obviously, like I said, woke up, fireworks emoji, congrats, you won. And it was the moment of truth thinking, right, let's click on this and see how much I've had to pay for it. And thankfully, it was $38. So I was quite happy with that in the end. To be fair, I was like, oh, I'm doing this more often. But like I said, sometimes before you go on there, it says, oh, you've missed out, and you missed out by like 10 cents or $2. And you just think that if you were up, it's just so frustrating. But it's the fun of bidding on US eBay when they end at 4:30, 3:00, 2 o'clock in the morning. But it's a great feeling, like you said, when you win and you've not gone anywhere near your max bid.
Yeah, like I say, it's a great one. I think we've all been fortunate enough to win, and then also on the other hand lose as well overnight. It's always a great one. But got to say, before we start wrapping up and talk about last talking point, just got to say for anyone who is heading down to the Southampton Card Show this weekend, there are still a very limited amount of tickets available. So do head over to their Instagram page, their link in the bio there to pick up your tickets for the show this Saturday at the Novotel in the Southampton City Centre. Literally a 3-minute walk from the train station. There's car parking on site. If you want to stay over the night before or the night of the show, you're literally staying at the venue. I'll be down the Friday night. So if anyone is down, make sure you reach out. No doubt, have a drink. I'm planning to go into the gym at the hotel. That's not going to happen. That's definitely not going to happen. If it does, yeah, if that happens, I deserve some sort of accolade or award for probably going one of the only people to go to the gym prior to a card show. But like I say, we wish Martin all the best success for Saturday. Let's say there's some really good guys going down to it. Some going to be great tables. As of recording this, Kev, obviously, Fora has just announced he's doing his famous flick through boxes of deals as well, starting from 10p all the way up to £10 with discounts on all of them. And he has said there's 12,500 cards going with him to the show. So if anyone wants to find me between 9 and 2 on Saturday, I will be looking through 12,500 cards and I will find at least one card that I want to buy. So that'd be a great one. But obviously next Tuesday, when we come back for the next episode, I'll obviously talk through that one and see where everything's going down. But H, the card shows are in full flow now, aren't they? It's that part of the year. They're coming thick and fast. That's the main thing. Very thick and fast. But it's good to see the hobby being alive with the card show, so to speak. But also, is it me or do you see a lot more people now posting on their Instagram and social media that they're at shows? And it's quite nice because, like, for this weekend where we was unfortunate not be able to make Yorkshire or Dublin, to actually see both of them going on and seeing them both look very good, thriving, busy. It's nice to see now that people are actually putting the content out, meeting people, what deals they get done. It's just nice to see what you're missing out on.
Yeah, card shows definitely are growing in capacity, growing in attendance, and it is nice to see that card shows finally are getting the recognition that they deserve, particularly when so many hours and so much work and thought goes into putting on these shows for people to finally, have the drive to want to go to all of these card shows. There are obviously a certain amount of people that obviously do go to almost every single show, and I respect your dedication. But yeah, it is really great to see so many stories, so many posts, so many reels, YouTube shorts, whatever that is, of snippets of these shows, recaps from the shows themselves to see us, how good they were and what went down. Some little snippets of the day of the weekend. So yeah, it is great to see obviously that the aftermath or the during of all of these shows, and for finally shows to have that sort of attendance that that they deserve after all the hours that go into days, weeks that go into obviously preparation for these shows. So yeah, it's great for people that can't get down to all the shows to see us, what it was, and possibly for next time wanting to try and get down there. I know for me, card shows have now become progressively harder to get to. Fortunately, Saturdays off for me aren't particularly easy. So yeah, it's one of those things where for me, I get serious FOMO, obviously looking at all the stories, but to then see obviously, I've got yourself as well that keeps me updated. But yeah, to see all then the aftermath, all the shows on Facebook, on Instagram, on all those different sort of social media platforms is brilliant. So yeah, card shows are definitely, we're in full card show season. So back-to-back weekends now. So yeah, we're definitely in full swing.
Yeah, like I say, can't wait for this weekend. So yeah, if you haven't got your tickets yet, make sure you do head over to Southampton Card Show Instagram page to pick up your tickets. Free trade night as well involved, so stay for the whole thing. Obviously, the main show, grab some food, drink in between or whatever it may be. Then head to the trade night as well. I'll be there the whole day, so I look forward to seeing everyone there. Hopefully we can get you a Saturday off soon, or worst comes to worst, the Sunday of a show. It's got to happen once.
Anyone wants to work my day for me, that massively appreciate it.
So let's get some Sunday card shows, people. Obviously, second day of London. Hopefully, we're penciled that in for one of them. But like we say, it's been another great episode. Obviously, it's good to talk about. It should be some interesting cards. Should be arriving this week to be able to talk to you next week. A few more releases are coming out. Obviously, we'll be able to have a better in-depth look at Choice Breakaway, which is out this Friday for Premier League Prism. Finest is out in a moment. obviously what happens with Prism and everything else in between the beginning of the F1 season. We'll start talking about that as well as Topps Gold, which is actually out today of recording, which is obviously the Monday. So they could have released it a couple of days ago, so we could talk about it, but don't worry, we'll talk about that one next week. But a lot's going on in the hobby now. Obviously, Panini's releases are starting flying out, so no doubt we're going to get a few more of them coming soon. It's that busier period. We always laugh and joke about the October, November, December being quiet for releases. But now this is the busy part. This is what we love to see. Picking up cards, a lot of stuff being listed, seeing what it's going for. And got to say, prices are doing very well on Prism at the moment. So people are all scaremongering people about 1p cards and all this. It's doing not too bad at the moment. Don't get me wrong, still cheap cards, but the prices are doing quite well across the hobby.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've had that quite a spell, the off season, if you like, and now obviously we're in full flow now. Card shows, product releases, breaks. It definitely obviously all is speak of the devil, and there is right beyond you.
Yeah, as he's actually talking about me, that was actually planned. That was very weird. That one.
But yeah, so obviously, like you said, so obviously we're definitely in full swing. Obviously, card shows, breaks, products, releases. We are definitely in the uprise now. Obviously, in the hobby. So yeah, very much looking forward to seeing what's next around the corner. But yeah, we're definitely now coming up to the peak, obviously, of the hobby season, if you like.
Yeah, like I say, a massive thanks yet again for every single person who's listening, tuning in. Follow us on Instagram, wherever it may be. We really appreciate the support. And obviously, we're here to think. So, any questions you ever ask or anything like that, always feel free. Head over to Instagram. If it's in person at a show, come over and say so. Or even what you'd like us to talk about, we're always open. DMs are always open. And also, obviously, our actual card accounts as well. Obviously, mine are trading cards, obviously HA Cards UK. Both of us are always open up for a chat about cards. But like I said, massive thank you yet again as well to the guys over at Third Down Displays for powering up this episode yet again. Your number one spot, obviously, for all the hobby needs. And if you are requiring anything, use that TTP10 for 10% off, which a lot of you have done. So thank you again. And well done for saving on that 10%. But H, it's been another great week. Lot to talk about. We're now waiting for this free boxer to start opening. You've got Arsenal Others and Martin Odegaard. I've got Havertz and Martinelli. So before we close this out, do you want to give a bit of context for the Martinelli spot so people might know why we're not talking to each other after tonight?
I mean, it was literally a simple case of it stuck in my head when Ronnie went, the last spot that always goes tends to be the ones that hit. So I'm like, you know what? Martinelli's been up there for a while. So I'm like, you know what? I'll keep reviewing it. If a couple of days time it's still there, I'll buy it. So I've then obviously gone on today to go and buy Martinelli, hoping it will break tonight. Sold. It's one of them things. It's unlucky, is what it is. Come on to record the podcast with my good friend Ronnie. I said, "Oh, did you see the Martinelli spot's finally sold?" And he just stared at me, and I was like, "You bored, haven't you?" And I swear, if Martinelli hits tonight, we will not be talking after
Yeah,
tonight.
I won't be giving you a golf club on Wednesday. I can tell you that for free.
You'll be going around your red if that's the case. So yeah, but like we said, hopefully we both hit tonight. But yeah, the Martinelli spot is a bit of a sour one, unfortunately. But hey, there we go.
Yeah, like I said, we will give you the results of that break, obviously, next Tuesday. Hopefully, there'll be hits for both of us. But like we say, whatever it is, we'll tell you what it is with full transparency. But like I say, a massive thank you for everyone and tuning in, listening, watching along. I hope you're all doing well, doing safe, hope families as well at this busy time of the year. But most importantly, hope everyone buying, selling, trading, and all that good jazz. But most importantly, happy hobbying and good night.